Okay, identify the properties, right? You have to first find the calculator, try to see if the property is older than being built in 1950. Sometimes you can get one that's a little bit older, really because I mean, all like obviously older as in it was built a long time ago. You just have to make sure it's obviously situational, but if you can look for something older than 1950, it's pretty solid. You want to look for no high. You like if someone doesn't want to pay for the high ticket expenses or at least give you a credit, it's kind of something you don't want to do, right? I can show you an example later on in this video, but high ticket expenses are pretty much like HVAC, electrical, the roof, septic tanks, etc. Essentially, you want to make sure that you're at least being compensated for taking on the risk of buying a property that needs repairs like that, right? Make sure there's no big crime in the area. You go to spot crime, look up the area code, or even just the property in general, and they'll show you first. And then the next thing is finding the seller's motivation and a timeline. Are they open to seller financing? Right, that's a whole other thing that we could cover moving forward in this video. But that's something that you can leverage against them if it makes sense for both parties. Right. Let's see. Let's see. Boom. Okay, what to look for when you're potentially negotiating the property, right? Big ticket repairs. You could use this against them because most people don't want to buy a property that needs big ticket repairs because they're going to have additional costs, right? So if someone is listing a property for $100,000 and you're trying to negotiate it because it has big ticket repairs that need to be done, but like, hey, if we were able to close on time, if we were able to close as fast as possible and get you a number that made sense for both parties, would you be against giving us a credit for the HVAC, for the electrical, or being like, hey, um, since there is a big since there are the big repairs that a lot of people are not necessarily willing to do, and the property has been sitting on the market for 30 days, would you be against us giving you $95,000 and being okay with us not getting a credit to fix those repairs? Right? You're basically leveraging it against them, right? Big ticket repairs, like I said, electrical, HVAC, roof, septic tank, etc. You want to identify this. Make sure you confirm it with an agent, or if you literally are the buyer yourself, make them send you a video if you're not in the place. I mean, the state you're buying in or the city you're buying in, or you could go and physically see it if you are in that area. Seeing the seller's timeline, motivation, and the days on market is something you could use against them in a positive manner, right? You're not necessarily being immoral, but you are just being a real good negotiator, right? If someone is trying to sell as fast as possible because their family moved out, or they're an empty nester, or the investment like doesn't make sense for them anymore, or they need cash quick, use it against them, right? So by leveraging the motives against them, you're able to go and get a good deal when it comes to either just getting a better price, getting a faster closing time, getting the actual deal itself, or getting a credit, right? Something that you would not get if you did not know how to negotiate. If a property is not sold for over 30 days and someone is trying to sell fast because you've identified their motivation, you always want to identify their motivation for you to do absolutely anything. You can say, would you be against seller financing if we were able to come to terms with something that makes sense for you and allows you to sell smoothly and swiftly, smoothly and quick, right? The reason why is because most people don't want to do seller financing because they want to get all their cash and equity up front. Because when you do seller financing, the person becomes the bank and they receive money every single month as if they were the bank, but they don't get all their money up front, right? They might just get like a little bit like a down payment from you, but not as much money as if they sold with the bank being involved. So if you want to put less money down, you would essentially say, look, I understand that you want to get the most money possible. However, your property hasn't sold for 30 days. So would you be against seller financing so you can get your property sold and collect more cash over an extended period of time so you have guaranteed rental income? But like I said, we were able to close faster than whatever fucking deals you dealt with, right? So essentially, you're getting what you want, which is to put less money down. You're still getting a rental property that's profitable, paying you out, but you're in a position where you're able to leverage their motivation, which is to sell fast, against them, and you're able to come out with less money, right? Make sure, like I said, get an agent to send you a video, property manager, someone that like confirm these things you want to negotiate, because you might go and say something and then in reality it wasn't even true, just because you saw something on picture on Zillow and then now you're kind of cooked because you can't take back what you said. Whoever talks the least always works. It always is in favor of that person. These are live properties that we have negotiated. I'm also going to show you things that we could come up with properties that we negotiate, that we want to negotiate and get things done, or we might get things done if it makes sense for them. But essentially, how you can identify things and come up with some sort of negotiation or terms that make sense for you more than it makes sense for them. But they obviously are in a position of distraught, so they need to sell. So this is how we negotiated, right? Let me move this myself right here. This property that we bought, right? It's on Holmes Avenue. It's over here in Ohio and shit, right? The reason why we negotiated the seller credit is because the person didn't want to drop the price. The big thing was they didn't want to drop the price. They want to sell the price. I said, okay, I'm understanding you want to sell the price. So are you looking to get the biggest price or to sell as fast as possible? And they said, well, just kind of like both. Okay, bet. Well, honestly, or like not obviously bet, but okay, I understand. And with that being said, if we were able to get a credit of X amount and still maintain the price, is that something you would be against doing? They were not against it. So we first asked for a credit, right? We agreed to get credit for the roof, but we said, hey, like, what do you think makes sense for you? Because we don't want to say a number, right? Because the roof wasn't, they didn't need repairs, but it isn't like a brand new roof. So like maybe the next 2-3 years, it might need to be, have some repairs done or just some touch up. So we asked for a credit. Like, hey, what do you think makes sense for you regarding this credit, and also something that would make sense in your terms? So once we said about the offer, um, not being dropped, they told us, hey, look, like we're not gonna drop the offer. That's what this is countered. We're not gonna drop the offer of under 100,000, but we could give credit, and this is the number they came up with, right? This credit number was something that I would have been fine with, but like I'm gonna say in this video multiple times, you will never know if you do not ask. So I said, look, will they be willing to meet at $5,000, or do you think that would be stretching it? Because you do not know, right? And an extra $1,000 goes a long way when it comes to closing costs. I honestly could have asked for six. I should have asked for six, because who knows whether they would have said six. But I wanted 5,000 because a roof might cost 5,000. So now instead of coming out of pocket $1,000 from the $4,000 credit the closing costs, I'm coming out of pocket basically nothing, right, to that closing cost or any possible repairs. So me saying 5,000 being ballsy, even though ballsy probably would have been 7,000, right? Because a roof repair like that, the one that it would need is like 3 to 5. I said 5. I went and asked, because if you don't ask, you'll never know. And they agreed to a $5,000 credit. Right? I could have went for 7, could have went for 8, but I said 5. However, I would have never got 5. I would have said, okay, that's cool. 4,000 is cool. So, sound on business when negotiations. Don't be afraid to ask, and be smart with the contacts and the shit that you say. You don't want to go and bullshit, say a bunch of things that they could use against you, because the more that you say, the more ammunition they have, and the more that they could use it against you, right? However, if you are acting live and being in a position where you are in the trenches and you know what's going on, you just know all the information that you need, and then from there you could go and say things. But you, like I said, you want to be very minimal, just because if they don't have ammunition, they can't use anything against you, and whoever talks the least and doesn't say a number first will always win, right? Always when you're negotiating, use the word feel and feelings, and you want to tap into that, because you don't want this person to think logically when they're making a decision like this. If someone is thinking logically, they're going to think about all the possible outcomes, negative and positive, right? But if you're saying feelings, like, hey, why do you feel like selling even makes sense now? Like, why not wait till the end of the year? Now they say, oh, I feel like, boom, when they're going to touch into their feeling, not think. Because if you say, hey, like, why do you think you should even sell right now? Like, why not wait till the end of the year? But it's because like I thought about it and I looked at the market. That is an analytical decision. It's gonna be very hard to convince them. But when you say feeling, they may not. They may have some analytical reason for why they want to buy. I mean, why they want to sell. But if you say feeling, they're thinking about their feelings reason, the reason behind their feelings, right? As opposed to just the logical. Because people are feeling based creatures. They're not necessarily logical. Some people will claim that they're logical, but if you can tap into the feelings right, they'll be a feeling based person. And like I said, you do not know if you do not ask. Feelings works a lot better for homeowners because they're not like logical people. Business owners, they think logically, but if you could really tap into their feelings, and you're selling to them why they should obviously sell with you and they should work with you, you can still convince them, right? So let's go into this. Now we'll go on like negotiating properties live. If you want to cook up a negotiation on this property, right? We'll look and we'll go through the fucking description, right? Look at this property. So where's it at? Boom, boom, boom. This property says perfect for an investor, looks pretty solid, has new paint, all the above, updated plumbing. So for this one, it says this property does require a TLC to make your own. It's 10 to 11 care. Like, what do you mean by that? You would ask him by that. 15 days on Zillow, so you can kind of wait and see if it goes under contract in the next 15 days. If it goes past 30 days, you can leverage that against them. And then, like I said, you ask them what is their motivation to sell, right? Just because they have updated plumbing, new paint, carpet, roof. I mean, all these things listed. You want to make sure that the roof is solid. I don't know if you can check by these pictures. You can look at some shit like this. You could kind of see if you look right here. Let me see. Let me zoom myself out. Right here, this looks like some scalping right here. So you could go and negotiate that, ask them about when the roof was made, and then also like the HVAC and stuff. So This is something that's pretty solid crib. But you still want to try to negotiate, not heavily, but you want to still try to do some work, just because you never know until you ask, right? Another property, you go through here, cooperative, whatever, 57 days, right? You could say like, hey, like, what's your motivation? Or you just figure out the motivation to sell. So like, hey, like, what's the reason we're sitting? Like, are you not in a position where you've been getting the numbers that you want? Like why haven't you taken the offers? Because look, price cut of 25,000. That's a big fucking cut, especially for this area in Ohio. So there has to be a reason that either they're not getting the number that they want, or maybe the people can't close as fast because they have financing issues. You can find the motivation with the agent. Just like I said, always look at the high ticket repairs. Like even this roof right here, if you look at it, I can't look at it from this picture. I don't know, it won't show it, but like this picture, I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know if it's just dirt or if the thing's like scraping a little bit. Ask about those high ticket repairs. It was built in 1905, so you got to look out for that. But 57 days, that's almost 2 months on the market that you could use it against. And that's something we might do if we look at this property with our agent. Because alongside that, a lot of people are viewing it but not saving it, because then you can use that against them too. Like, hey, I see a lot of people that are looking at it but not really actually taking action to do something upon it, where the schedule is showing or something. Is there anything in particular that has like been holding people back? Like so you want to get as many questions as possible. Make sure that they are the one that's speaking more than you. There's a live negotiation on that one. This is a property that we're actually in the process of negotiating as well, if we felt like it made sense for us. Honestly, this is the one. Oh no, this is not. This is not the exact one. It's property 0. So this is one that you can say, you can try to negotiate, like, hey, or you can figure out why are you selling it. This is a great motivation one, simply because if this person's selling, right? If you look at it, it says that they already have rental income. Like this person's paying income, this person's paying income. There might be the possibility that this person has a bad tenant. That's the reason why they want to sell it, right? Like, why would you want to sell this if you have fucking guaranteed rental income coming every single month? Then they're new tenants. It's a newer roof. Like, there has to be some sort of strong motivation to give up something like this. So you're able to use that against them. They probably want to sell because they have a financial issue, and from there you can go and lock it in, right? You can use it against them. Like, hey, we might not be able to make the exact number that you want, but we're able to put you in a position where you can close as fast as possible and receive your money that you need. So this is something you can negotiate, because obviously if they have a rental income coming in, it's not enough, right? Because they might need some big cash, whatever the fuck that's going on, credit card debt, whatever the hell. So you can use it against them. Property 0, this is the one that we were actually negotiating. This is the one I was referring to because I hadn't necessarily clarified, or had like I had the wrong one in front of me. The one before, I thought it was this one, but it's not. 1915, so it's pretty old. You look at it, this explanation is not that good, but we try to get pictures of it, and we're trying to see more things. That's why we're contacting the agent. So if you hop in on this one, you might have to compete with us, my boy. So this one right here, 2 bed, 1 bath, right? So it's a multi-unit up and down. You can see up here and down here. If you look at this right here, the owner is willing to consider owner financing, so seller financing, right? Basically meaning that they will collect less cash up front, but you come in with less money down. And I think the reason for that is because this person is not necessarily looking for the most money out of debt like that they're going to get and receive. They're just trying to close as fast as possible, because seller financing, you can close a little bit faster, and alongside that, you could be in a position where it's a little bit easier. So this person is open to seller financing. So that's something you could use against them. Like, hey, like, why do you even consider seller financing? Why not get all the money up front? You can say, hey, like, they say, oh, well, I need monthly revenue every single month. Like, they can help me out. Like, oh, I can understand. Is that something for like bills and stuff, or what's your motivation behind that? Essentially, finding out what the hell the deal. Like, why are they open to seller financing, right? But don't stretch it, because you might get them to be like, oh, never mind, fuck you. I think a reason for the seller financing is because they want to provide an incentive for someone to not have to, for someone to have to cover this, right? The buyer will need to replace both furnaces and hot water tanks. That is a high ticket repair. So they are open to seller financing because they know someone needs to have a reason for them to make an offer on this, knowing that they need to replace it. So what you can negotiate is say, like, hey, if we were able to do XYZ number, so like this, you say, hey, if we were able to do $100,000, but you give us a credit for the furnaces and the hot water tanks, that's something you would be against. So you're getting $5,000 off, which you could probably even ask for fucking lower. You're meeting them in the middle, saying like, hey, seller financing will not be used, but then you can collect more money. But you're in a position where you get credited to having to take the responsibility to replace the shit. So instead of getting direct credit for you to obviously replace it on your own, you're coming out of pocket less with a down payment. But if I were you, I would say, like, would you be against giving us a credit to get this shit repaired? if we're able to meet you at a number that you wanted. Because you get the credit, it's like dead ass, it's like 5K credited towards your closing costs, as opposed to if you go 100, if you deduct 5,000 from this, it's probably only going to affect your down payment by maybe like $1,000 max. So would you rather save $1,000 or $5,000? So something you can negotiate live right there. Let's go back to this. Different objections you're going to get all the fucking time. Is I want this amount of money, I'm not selling it, right? That's something you could go against and say, hey, honestly, are you looking to just get that number, or are you looking to make most out of the property that you're actually selling? Simply because someone can go give that number, but then they do seller financing and they don't get the actual deal. So you want to identify if it's a number, or if it's just a number, or they're trying to make the most profit. Because they can sell it for the number, but if they have to pay a bunch of fees like closing costs, they may not make the most money. So if you say like, hey, you trying to make the most money, or are you trying to sell it for the highest price? Because selling it for the highest price doesn't mean you're gonna get the most money. You can say like, oh, I have X amount of offers at Y price, right? So I already have fucking 5 offers at $100,000, right? Some people might tell you that, some people might not, but a lot of the times it might be a smoke screen, so you want to identify if it actually is or not. But like, hey, like, I totally understand it. Like, I had those offers. I honestly might consider them too. If it made sense, like, why haven't you like taken their offers? Like, why not just work with them? You need to see if they're bullshitting. Based off of their answer, they might know if this is bullshit. They don't want to do seller financing because they need the cash. But like, okay, I totally understand. And like, have you had anybody that actually provided you an offer that made sense for both sides, and they were willing to do regular traditional financing? See if people have inquired. If people have not inquired, you can use it against them. But like, oh, like I mean, your property's been unlisted for 60 days. Like, do you see any side of like offers coming soon, or like has any like a motion or just traffic that came to you? Now you can leverage the fact that people don't want to go and put hella money on this property if it needs repairs and shit, and you can leverage, seller financing and stuff. Make them be open to doing seller financing by acknowledging their motivation and tying them down by the emotions that they have. Remember, always emotional, always feelings. I need to sell fast, but I need to make this amount of money, right? So you could go negotiate the amount of credits you can provide. Say, hey, look, I know you want to sell it for $100,000. However, I understand that you are just trying to, like, are you trying to make the most amount of money, or are you just trying to get that price? So they say, actually, why does he need to make this much amount of money, like, on the sale? I'm like, okay, I totally understand. And honestly, I believe that we can meet you at the number that you want. When it comes to the amount that you want to pocket, would you be against meeting at $95,000? However, we will take on our buyer's commission and you don't need to pay it, so you could go and profit more money on the sale. So you're getting a deducted amount that you actually have to come out in down payment, but you're paying your agent. But with your agent, you can negotiate like, I don't know, the commission or something, or if you fuck with them, you don't. But in reality, you're just getting a less money out. Or you can say like, look, we'll meet you at 105,000 instead of 100,000, but you pay our agent. So then they come out of pocket to pay that agent. They can negotiate it or whatever. However, you're in a position where you have to come out of pocket less money with the fucking sale, and you could leverage like, oh, you're selling it for the most amount of money. Like, what do you mean? So there's different ways to approach that. If someone says just give me an offer, but like honestly, I don't even know if it makes sense for me to invest my time, my time or energy into this offer. I just want to give you a call or even contact you to see if it made sense. Like, if we even have a conversation and it doesn't make sense, like I might honestly not gonna waste my time. So you want to leverage yourself as the person that's an authority. Like I said, you want to say like, oh, if it made sense for both parties, I would put an offer. But honestly, if it doesn't, like I'm not gonna do anything because you want them to make sure that you're not full of shit, right? Someone says just give me an offer, but like honestly, if I just give you an offer, like what are you trying to get out of like an offer? But like, oh well, I just want this amount of money, right? It's gonna show you the real smoke screen. And you say, hey, like I can make that offer, but I just feel like we're gonna be shooting ourselves in the foot because I won't have enough information to give you the best possible offer. And alongside that, you may not got the offer that makes the most sense for you because I don't have the information. So now they understand that you need more information. And alongside that, they're not gonna get a good enough offer if they don't give you the information. X property on Y Street sold for Z. So you want that amount, right? It's the comps. But like, hey, like I know you want that amount. Do you now know what kind of went into that transaction to make sure that person, or to know why that person got that amount? And then you see like if they're full of shit, they just want the number, right? I'm not dropping the price. You could tie down with, like I said, their motivation, how fast they need to sell it, why they want to sell it, and get them credits or get credits from them. They don't want to drop the price and say, hey, honestly, I totally understand. And honestly, I wouldn't want to drop my price either if I was selling a home that I lived in for so long. Like, if we were able to meet you at that price, close as fast as possible and as smoothly as possible, would you be against giving us a credit just so we could repair the roof after we close, using against you say, or you would you feel against giving us credit? So feeling against and getting a credit, which does not affect them when it comes to the price, but it does affect them when it comes to the closing. So you're using it against them. Like I said, always know the motivation before you say anything, because you might go and say the wrong shit. If you say like, "Look, we'll give you the best possible offer, and we'll close as fast as possible." What if the person doesn't want to close that fast and they really don't give a fuck, and they're willing to negotiate because they need some high ticket repair? Now you just fuck yourself up because you can't take back what you said. Like I said, you want to make sure that you go and do a high friction resistance, saying like against, for something that's a low ask, right? So if they want to sell fast, but they want a certain price, but like you can say, so we were able to close fast and come to terms with something that made sense for both of us, because I don't want to waste each other's time. You wouldn't be against just having a conversation like that? Like you don't feel like that would be something that's appropriate? Against in a conversation to feel that something made sense? Not really a big uh, requirement on their end. All they have to do is have the conversation, right? Against is a strong word for something small, and all you're asking is for something that does not require that much time, energy, or even money. Is just a conversation, right? You frame yourself as an authority, then you're not bullshitting by saying, honestly, we don't want to waste each other's time, and you don't really need this deal. If you want anything regarding Section 8 when it comes to either just help or information, we have a program that we are doing, running up for a select amount of students that we're just doing individual help one-on-one for. We will find a property for you, just like the ones we mentioned. We will negotiate it. We will lock it in with the negotiations that we do with the team that we have. We will place a qualified tenant. We will get you paid. And alongside that, we have property management, so you don't do absolutely anything, right? If you have any questions around this, or it seems even remotely interesting, we can see if we can even help you. We can hop on a call, or you can just DM me. We don't work with just anyone that has a fucking heartbeat and a credit card. If we feel like we can help you, we will see if we can help you by diving deeper. If we cannot help you, we will tell you straight up that we cannot help you. And honestly, we might point you in a direction for something that makes sense for your current situation. It will simply just be a conversation about information, not an obligation. So if you have any questions, or if this sounds remotely interesting, you can DM me on Instagram, or you can leave a comment down below and we could go with the next steps. You can have a conversation directly with me, see how I can help you directly, one-on-one, completely done for you. All you're literally doing is just put in maybe some information like your social when it comes to filling out the loan application, something like that, where I don't need to see it. And all you're doing is collecting checks. Thank you for watching. Look forward to all y'all. This video is going to come out today. But if you watch this whole thing, you're a G, and I hope you either take action upon it on your own or action with me and we get some shit done.